Hello students, my name is Joseph Ferguson and I will be your professor for Education 1301, Introduction to the Teaching Profession. The purpose of this video is first to welcome you to the class and second to show you around the class online since we're not going to meet face to face and I'm not going to have the opportunity in person to show you around the D2L section for the course. And hopefully that'll help you not get too far astray because there's a lot in there since it's a pretty in-depth course. When you go online and you log into my Lone Star, you'll see your tiles. This section might not be your exact section, but they're all more or less the same. You could sort of follow along. You're going to have one for 1301, Introduction to the Teaching Profession, which is where 99.99% of the stuff is going to be. There is a section for the lab, and I'll put some sort of picture that has lab section there so you know which is which. The only reason that I can see to go to the lab is for some reason the books for Star Bundle don't show up in the main course, they show up in the lab. So if you go to the lab section and then you click on course materials, you will see all of the things. So there's the required textbook and then there's the supplemental reader that we have. If you do the same thing in the main course section, for some reason it only shows you the book. So that's there if you're looking for it, if you did the Star Bundle. But let's go ahead and get to the main show and look at the page for the main course. So what you'll do is you'll see all the things at the top here: course materials, syllabus, content, grades, course activities, collaboration, and support. Course materials I clicked on for the other one. I'll just show you what it looks like when you click on it here. It will show you the one book. I'm showing two now. All right, last time I did this before I hit record, it was only showing the one book. Maybe if you open the lab first and then open this one, it shows both of them. But every other time before I hit record, it only showed the one book. So something to watch for. That might be a tricky thing that happens. All right, then there's the syllabus. It's all in here. No more paper syllabus to kill all the trees. We've gone green. And you can click on the syllabus. It'll ask you to acknowledge it up here, but also at the bottom. Once you've scrolled all the way to the bottom, I mean, don't do this. You obviously want to read it. I'll just show you what I'm talking about. Once you get to the bottom, it'll give you a thing to acknowledge it. I'm not going to read this word for word in the video. You're grown, you can read it, and it's very important that you do read it. It has all kinds of useful information in there. It has the typical stuff about the course information, the instructor's information, that's me, our department chair for education, and our dean for the Create division, the course overview, and it's always important to know the student learning outcomes. What's fun about teaching Education 1301 and Education 2301 is that I'm not just teaching you as students, I'm also sort of walking you through being teachers. I'm modeling a lot of things. So I enjoy that a lot about this course. So I'll point out, as students, you should read the student learning outcomes, but as future educators, these are vital into every bit of instruction that you do. If you don't have something connected to a student learning outcome, then it's probably not a good use of your time or your students' time. So you'll read through all those. It talks to you about the Star Bundle. Read those, please. And the required texts. There's the textbook, and then there's a little book, Teaching Outside the Box. I have a lot of students tell me that they keep this book. They sell their other one, the textbook, but the Teaching Outside the Box book, a lot of students keep it. And I've had some people that have gone on to be teachers, when I've seen them again, tell me that they read the book every couple of years. So I think it's going to be a good book you'll enjoy. Technology requirements are in here. You can get Microsoft Office for free, and I have a link to that. You just use your Lone Star College. It feels a little bit fishy, no pun intended. It feels like they're trying to steal your Lone Star College email and password, but they're using it at that website to verify you are a Lone Star College student, and then they'll give you free Microsoft Office subscription. Also, I put in here file formats. This isn't like a political statement to where I'm against Mac or anything like that, but some files won't open in the D2L browser when I go in to grade your assignments, so I can't see them and I can't give you a grade. And then even some of those, if I go through the extra step of downloading it to the hard drive and open it, they still won't open on my Windows machine. So as you see in the red letters here, I need everything actually, to be in one of these file formats, not all of them. That would be tricky. So Word docs, Excel, PowerPoint. PDF is probably the safest one. If you're using a Mac or you usually use Google Docs, create your thing and then export it to a PDF or save it as a PDF if for some reason you haven't downloaded Microsoft Office, which again is for free. So course information is there. The assignments, here's how you get your points. You'll probably notice here the first couple of ones I put in red. Do these before you do classroom observations. You should not be out in the field observing classrooms before you've done all of these ones. So I'll be checking for that. Make sure you do that. Trust me, it's for your own good. It's not a random thing. So you can look there and see how you get your points. You'll see that it's a 1,000-point grade scale. 900 to 1,000 points will get you an A, 800 to 899 B, and so forth. One very unusual thing about this course, and it's not me, it's the whole system, Lone Star College system. If you get a 100% on every single assignment, but then you don't observe 16 hours, if you get 100% on every assignment and you observe 15 and a half hours, you fail the course. So it's very important, this observation part of the course to get done. So course policies. First one I put for myself is the AI policy for me. And this is a very interesting time. And it's an interesting time for you as emerging educators to be around when there's a big shift in technology. This doesn't happen that often. There's a lot of gradual changes that you'll get, like instead of a projector, you'll have a smart board, kind of those slow things, but those usually don't throw everything upside down. But in my youth, what I think of is when I was in junior high and high school, we weren't allowed to use calculators for anything. And if we had calculators, it was cheating, and we couldn't go home and use calculators on our homework. And after I graduated high school, I had a break. I was in the Army for a few years. But when I came back to college, at Lone Star College, they had us using calculators. They even had it in the syllabus, this is the calculator you should buy. And that was very strange for me. And I felt like I was cheating on all of my assignments using calculators. But of course, most of y'all today, you don't bat an eyelash at using calculators. But there was a system of what is right, what is wrong, how do we do this, how do we not do this. And this is the first thing since then that I've seen to that scale. So it's an interesting time to be a new educator. You're going to have to come up with your own policies of, do you want to deny AI use to the students 100%? Do you want to give them free reign and not even check on it? Or do you want to find some place in the middle? Right now, I've decided to find some place in the middle. And this is another example of my opportunity to role model to you as a current educator to future educators. And I'll let you read through it. I'm not going to read stuff to you. But overall, I'm going to let you use it as a tool, but I'm not going to let you use it to cheat, right? What I came up with, and I may have overheard somebody else say this, and it might not be an original idea, but what I landed on is, ask yourself this: if asking another human to do X, Y, or Z would be honest or dishonest. For example, would I ask another human to write my paper for me completely? That would be dishonest. Would I ask another human to proofread my paper for grammatical errors or spelling errors? That would be fine. That would be completely acceptable. So if asking a human would be okay, asking the AI would be okay. And if asking a human would not be okay, then asking the AI would not be okay. And then there's more details in here. I don't want this video to go an hour. So if you do use the AI, I do want you to tell me, and I give you word for word what I want you to do, steps I want you to do. Because sometimes even if you only use it to proofread, it'll still get flagged in an AI detector. And instead of me seeing you got flagged as an AI detector and us starting this whole process of checking on academic integrity, if you'll follow this system in a perfect situation, you would write the paper yourself. You would run it through Grammarly or something to check for errors. You would turn in your rough draft before Grammarly and name it something like rough draft, and then turn in your final one. That way, when if the AI flags your final draft as being AI, I can go back and run your rough draft and it'll show obviously not AI. So those are extra steps put in place to sort of keep everybody safe and honest. So read through those. And of course, you don't have to use AI if you don't want to. But we'll do this together. And if you're being dishonest, it will come out. If you're being honest, made an honest mistake, that will come out too. Read through participation. You should know about that. Response time. Sunday through Thursday, if you reach out to me, I'll get back to you within 24 hours. If you email me on Friday, Saturday, it'll probably be Monday before you hear from me again. And you need to plan your life around that. I've had a few folks try to get clever, and we have an assignment due Sunday at midnight. And what they'll do is they'll email me Sunday at 11:20 p.m. And then obviously I don't write back before midnight. And then on Monday they'll say, oh, I need more time because you didn't answer my question. So factor in my response time as you're planning your assignments. If for some reason I don't get back to you in 24 hours or by Monday, if you write me on the weekend, I 100% hope that you will follow up and say, hey, Mr. Ferguson, just following up on my email from the other day. That will not hurt my feelings at all. Very rarely do I let an email slip past me, but sometimes it does happen. And if it does happen, I'm not ignoring you, I promise. Late work. There shouldn't be any late work. You'll probably notice a theme, not just with me, but all of the teacher ed professors for 1301 and 2301. We have very high standards because if you're in our class, you're telling us that you want to teach our kids. And if you want to teach my kid and the kid of any other of the professors that teach these courses, we're going to expect you to be the best of the best. So you cannot be a teacher teaching K through 12 and turning stuff in late and not taking care of your kids on time. So if there's super extenuating circumstances, I'll hear you out, but I wouldn't bank on me taking anything late. Okay, I mentioned file formats earlier. That's in there again. And there's a bunch of Lone Star policies that are just for the system. I'll let you read all those on your own. There's important things in there. Disability services, if you had accommodations or modifications in high school, those seem like they happened magically, but I assure you they didn't. There was a lot of planning and meetings, and your parents came to the school and talked to everybody. But now that you're the adult learner in college, it's up to you to go and get those accommodations taken care of. So meet with our disabilities counselors and talk to them. Here's some more links from the system. Tons of great stuff, but I'm not going to go over each one in the video. And that is our online syllabus from that link. Next is the content. This is where most of your stuff is going to be. You can do an overview of everything. You can do a course schedule, and that'll tell you what's coming up. As of this recording, there's nothing coming up in the next 7 days, but you can click on full schedule. During the semester, it'll tell you what's coming up the next few days. This might not be your exact section, so don't be alarmed if the dates are a little off from what you're seeing in your own section, but this is the type of thing you'll see. You'll see the first week, these things are coming due. And after that, this opens up and so forth. If you do course schedule, you see that. If you do table of contents, you'll see everything from week 1 all the way down to week 16. If that's how you want to roll, then by all means. But one of the things that we're going to learn about is learning styles. And if that's not your learning style, I'm not going to force you into it. The other way to go is just work the modules. Start here is probably a great place to start. I start with week 1, the things I need you to do. I need you to read expectations for written work. because this is a course where if it's online, really the main way I can assess your knowledge is through your writing. There's a couple of quizzes and things like that, but it's going to be mostly writing. If we were face to face, I'd have several other ways to assess your learning, talking to you, looking at you, those kinds of things. But since it's going to be online, the expectation for written work is very high. If you click on it, it'll tell you that I'm not really looking for book reports. I mean, tell me what the book says, but that's not the whole assignment. That's kind of the starting point. I need to hear your voice. I need to hear your thoughts, your ideas, your life experiences, how they connect to what the book says. How do you feel about what the book says? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Tell me why. In college, the best friend you'll ever have writing papers is the word because. So instead of I agree with the author, period, I agree with the author because she said, go on, or my own life says this. Always want to cite sources when referencing other people's work. The forums will be the same thing. I'm going to show you where the discussion forums are, your papers, discussion. All of these are applicable to these expectations for written work. And then in my past, I was a social studies and language arts teacher. So my last little paragraph is, this writing is an art. It should be fun. It's your opportunity to be creative. I hope that you don't feel a ton of dread when it's time to write. I hope you realistically, some of you do, but I hope you start to see it as an opportunity to express yourself. So I want you to be creative. If you have something funny that happens or a funny thought occurs to you that's related to it, let's hear it. So it's the more enjoyable the paper is to write for you, the more enjoyable it'll be for me to read it. Okay, let me go back. I need you to use MLA formatting. And if you're not familiar with it, here's some videos to show you how to do it, how to do the in-text citations, and how to do the works cited page. So all of those things are important, and there's some other links for MLA formatting. And this is pretty much what you'll do. You'll go down the modules, or you'll start at the top of table of contents and work your way down to see everything there is to see. Next is grades. I'm not going to click on it because it might show everybody's grade. There's no grades in now, but it might show names. You feel free to ask me about your grade anytime you like, but you don't really need to. You can click on grade and it'll show you all the grades you have. Course activities, if you would like to jump straight to where the assignments are, straight to where the quizzes are, this is where you would do that. So our assignments are here. Online course contract has the due date, and then the attachment is the instructions or the file that you're going to type on, depending on what the assignment is. If you click on these, you'll see that you can add the file just like you're attaching a file to an email. You can type comments in here, like if you had a thought about the assignment or a suggestion about the assignment or some kind of revelation about the assignment, you can fit that in there, then click submit, and then there it goes. So also in course activities, you can jump straight to the quizzes. The syllabus quiz is the only one I have a solid due date for. The rest of them, you should be doing them as you work through the weeks, and it'll tell you week 1, do this chapter quiz. It'll tell you when you should be doing it. I don't put solid due dates on those. It's an online class, and I like to give you some flexibility because if you're in an online class, you're probably working a lot and probably working during the day. So one of them has a due date, like I said, but the rest of them, just do them as you're doing the modules and have them all done before the last day of class. That way I can grade those for you. Collaboration is where our discussions are. And as I'm sure you imagine, with it being an online course, there are a lot of discussion forums. So you'll go in and it tells you the days they open and then the day they close. And then you'll do those. Let me circle back. So those are the highlights, but let me circle back into content. And let's go to the field experience things. There's a very important document, well, two very important documents, Field Experience Guidelines and the Field Experience Handbook. In the guidelines, it tells you how you'll find a school. I don't assign a school to you. I like to do it that way because, one, it's better for you because I don't lock you into something and then you have to devote your whole life to being revolved around what I made for you. But the bigger reason I like to do it this way is it mirrors what it's going to look like when you're trying to find a job as a teacher. You get your degree, your certifications. You're going to go online to the websites and you're going to go, each school district will be a little different. There's not a uniform format. Some of the school districts' websites will have a link that says careers. Some of them have one that says HR. Some of them will say jobs. And you'll go and you'll find it. And then everyone will have a different thing. Some of them you can just click and go. Some of them you have to create a login and a password and all of those things. And then once you're in there, do you apply for student observer? Do you apply for volunteer? Whatever it is that district needs from you. And since all of the districts are different, if you get a little turned around, your best point of contact is the school district's human resources. So you would call them and let them know I'm trying to get approved to do observations, and they'll walk you through the steps if they're not apparent on the website. So finding a school will be on you. Then once you find the school, you'll schedule the dates and times. That'll be your responsibility. Then here in big red writing, if you work at a school, if you're a paraprofessional or custodian, bus driver, child nutrition worker, you cannot use the time that you were on the clock working at your job as observation hours. That's not just my rule, that's everybody's rule. So logically, it's because observing, you're not doing anything. Your undivided attention is on the classroom teacher and the environment and all those things. If you're working as a special ed para, then you're probably focused on a couple of students and not really watching the rest of the classroom. Also, it's a little shady to be getting paid to do one thing and then getting credit for doing another thing at the same time. So there's a couple of ways to go, but I'll tell you the top two most common ways is either if you're a para, you can get a substitute para to cover you for 16 hours. And then when you do that, it's really important, don't go into your own classroom to observe with that substitute para in there. You need to go to a completely different classroom with students that don't know you, especially if you're a special ed para, because the students aren't going to understand why suddenly you're not helping them. They're going to want you to help, and they're going to be confused and discouraged. So, but also it's good to get out and see different things. The other way people do, and this takes a little longer, is everyone is supposed to have a 30-minute duty-free lunch period. And what you can do is, if you can find a teacher that doesn't mind you eating a sandwich in the back of their classroom, is you can spend 32 of your lunches observing a classroom. While still eat lunch, please. Don't starve because of this. And that's another way a lot of folks go. I would recommend talking to your administrators at your campus. They're all different, and I can't promise you one will do this and another will do that. But over the years, I've had a few campus administrators think of a third option that was completely acceptable. So you can talk to them and say, my principals propose this or propose that. But so long as it meets the spirit of the law of you're not getting paid to work with children and you're not working with children, you're doing your Lone Star observation. So long as that's not what's happening, we'll be good. There's also a bullet about not observing at a high school if you've graduated in the last 5 years. That's not because we don't trust you. It's because we don't trust the high school kids that know you. And a lot of times the disruption is because a kid that's a junior remembers when you were a junior and they want to make a scene or they want to mess with you or that kind of thing. So it's better if you've recently graduated from a high school not to go back to that high school to observe. All right, and then I'll let you read the rest of these on your own, but that's important stuff. And then also in the field experience is the handbook. Got to read that handbook. It's 29 pages. Everything you need to know, all the things that will keep you in the good graces of the schools and Lone Star. And if you go down deep in there, it shows you the list of schools that you can do your observations. It's most of the school districts in this area, and then even a little bit further out in this area. You shouldn't have a problem finding a school district that we have an education affiliation agreement with. The list, it'll be in here. It does have a few of the private schools around here. And I would caution you not to do all of your hours at a private school. I'm not against private schools at all. And if you want to do a couple hours there, even if you are pretty convinced you want to teach public school, it wouldn't be bad to do a couple hours at a private school. But if you do all of your hours at a private school, what's going to happen is you're going to get a little jammed up in some of our assignments. Because in some of our assignments, I ask you to look at data from the school, like their student test scores and their demographic rates and ratios and those, all that kind of data. And public schools have to share that with anybody that wants it, but private schools do not. And more than once, despite my warning at the beginning of the semester, I've had somebody try to start on their school data project, and the private school they observed at just said, no, we're not giving you any of this information or any of this data. And then they were in a bind. So I would diversify where you're observing. And even if you are dead set on public schools and you think you want to do high school, observe elementary for a few of your hours. Observe middle school or junior high for a few of your hours. Get a good picture of it, because you don't want to be the person that does your whole 4-year degree and your student teaching experience just to find out, oh, this really isn't where I want to be. So it's another good opportunity to kind of feel the waters where everything is. So the field experience is going to be a very impactful time this semester for you. All right, and here's another thing I started doing recently. You'll see things like this observation guidelines agreement. I'll have a link that says click here to see an example. Click here to see an example. I put those in there so that the confusion would hopefully boil down to zero. Like here's a release agreement you got to do. I'll click on and see an example for you. So you'll fill this out with your name. I blocked out the other student's name, and of course I had their permission to do this. They put the location of the school they want to go. Early in the semester, if you just know a school district and you're not sure which campus yet, I'll accept that if you just put Klein ISD or Tomball ISD and then put just the semester, just put spring of 2026. But later on, once you have a campus and you have actual dates, you can come back and update. And that's true for all of your field observation forms. You can turn something in, and if something changes, I'm not going to give you a hard time if you upload an update, because that's going to happen a lot of the times. And the second page, signature and a witness and all of those things. So hopefully that cuts down on confusion, because I have examples for everything. School approval to observe is another one that not all of them look exactly alike. Sometimes they'll send you an email. Sometimes they'll send you a letter in the mail. Sometimes it'll be a very formal thing from the district office. Sometimes it'll be the secretary of the campus will email you. But something official from someone that works at the school district telling you that you're approved to observe, you can just take a screenshot of it or whatever it is and upload that to me. So all of those. A few of them I even made a video for you, because I was having so many issues on some assignments that I made a video. So be sure to either look at the examples or watch the videos that I post, and it'll make your life a whole lot simpler. In the very end is a 16-hour log check. Halfway through the semester I do a log check, and I let you, it's okay if you only have 5 or 6 hours, because I'm kind of doing a midpoint check and making sure you're going to an approved school and making sure you're on track, those kinds of things. But at the very end, we have this 16-hour final log check. And there's a lot of steps that I need you to do for you to get full credit. And as you remember from earlier in the video, I said if you don't do the 16 hours correctly, you fail the course, no matter what your grades are and all your other assignments. So your final log check, you'll do all these things. And I'm not going to read them all to you. Then there's a final step, and this is important. This is how we keep everybody honest. We keep me honest. We keep you honest. We keep the teachers who are observing honest. What we'll do is, once you have your log ready to go and ready to turn in, you're going to compose an email to the teachers you observed, to their official school email, not to their Gmail, none of that stuff. And you'll attach that log as a PDF, and then you'll copy me at my official email, and then the subject line will read Lone Star College Classroom Observations. I need you to start off with this statement, and then after that official statement, you can put your own words, like I appreciated this assignment, or I appreciated how you did this and you helped me with that. But I do need this first official statement in there. And if you do all of those things, we're only going to get legitimate logs happening. Because if you send it to their school email address and it's not legitimate, they are going to reply to me saying these aren't the hours they observed, or I never met this person in my life. If for some reason, and hopefully this is never the case, but I like to prepare, maybe your good friend is a teacher somewhere and they say, oh yeah, I'll just sign it for you, I'll hook you up. When you send that to their official email address, then it becomes part of the public record. And if it turns out you didn't do those, because a lot of times I'll go back and I'll call the receptionist and I'll say, hi, it's me, Lone Star. I'm double checking that the student did observe at your school, and I'm double checking they were there 3 hours on this day of the week. And if they say you were not there, then I have a conversation with the assistant principal of the campus and say, it's weird that I have this teacher signature on a log, and the receptionist says that that student never came to the campus ever. So unfortunately, we need to do this to keep everybody straight, but that's what we're going to do. All right. That's most of the big stuff. If you have any questions that I did not already answer, after you've watched the entire video, of course, and after you've read the entire syllabus all the way through, and the entire handbook all the way through, and the field observation guidelines all the way through. If you read all of those things all the way through and you still have a question, by all means, do reach out to me. I'm glad to be of assistance to you. And it's really meaningful to me to play a small role in your journey to become an educator and all of the great things that you're going to do in the future. So let's have a great semester.